Abrams Cat Litter presents The March to YouTube Domination! Dateline Hollywood. A plucky red-haired beauty hatches her plan to conquer the internet by gaining 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. But she can't do it alone. Only you can help her in her quest to achieve YouTube greatness by liking, subscribing, and most importantly, sharing her videos. Remember, it's up to you to fight the evils of YouTube suppression and the evil corporations who want to keep you down by clicking the like button as we march our way to YouTube domination!
What does a JJ cut of Star Wars really fix? Probably absolutely nothing. Hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy. One of the two main things I do talk about on the channel is Star Wars and Star Trek, and you guys are asking in chat, did you see the Akiva Goldsman interview in Hollywood Reporter? And that means you didn't see my video that I released early this morning about the video about the Akiva Goldsman thing. That's the Star Trek thing. That's one of the things I cover, one of the big ones that I really am passionate about. The other one I'm still, I really want to love it. I want to love Baby Yodas and everything that's coming from it because I grew up with Star Wars. I am an awe girl. I like the things I like, and if you don't like it, then or reasons or screaming or I don't know what else I'm talking about. But the problem with these Disney sequels is that no matter what you do to them, they're still garbage. They're still garbage. They're still terrible. They're still not good movies. They're still not fun or interesting or exciting. They still set up a lot of problems, like focusing way too much time, especially in the first movie, on a bad main character while throwing away all of our old characters that we actually like and give a crap about. And no, I don't want to spend 2 hours with some new character. If I wanted that, I'd watch a new movie, not Star Wars. Like, really. That was the whole point. That was the whole point. I'm watching a nostalgia movie, being somebody. And I can admit to this, and I don't make a secret of this. I'm not somebody who goes into the expanded universe. I grew up with the original trilogy. I'm not a big fan of the prequels. They're all right, but they're not like my go-to thing. So you come back because they're making Star Wars again, and they're bringing back the original people finally. And what do? They give us all these new people for most of the movie that nobody gives a crap about anyway. Expect us to like them, kill off our old ones, our old characters that we actually are there for. And what do you expect us to do? What do you expect the normies to do? What do you expect the diehard people who grew up with worshiping Luke Skywalker as a hero to do? We're going to reject your garbage. And no matter whose camp you're in, and all this JJ stuff that they're leaking, we're going to talk about this. I think it's just to cover up all this other crap that's going on recently. Here we go. What happened with the Disney sequel trilogy and the changes to episode 9? Who cares? Well, we were told that there was this Matt Smith cut. And that was part of what the George Lucas cut was, the Matt Smith cut, and they brought him in with the dagger of, he was the son of Mortis or something, the son of somebody, and that was a rumor. He was even in IMDb for about a minute. Matt Smith was. They had all these articles saying he was going to be in it, and then he wasn't all of a sudden. So was that a rumor? Was that true? Who knows? They might have cut him out. They might have never had him in there. We don't know. But they were generating so much buzz around this third film after The Last Jedi flopped in the eyes of fans anyway. It broke the fandom no matter what it did. No matter what you say about the movie, it did break the fandom. And JJ didn't give us a very good foundation anyway. Exactly. I think that's what's happening. They're trying to one-up the Snyder Cut. They're trying to go off of the buzz of that, thinking that's what fans want. This is not the same set of situations and circumstances. This isn't the same thing, right? The same thing didn't happen to change. JJ's movies weren't really that well loved anyway, right? There wasn't a big fan push to say, release the JJ cut. We don't want it. It's not going to fix anything. These movies were terrible anyway. So what? You're just going to have more of the same crap that doesn't belong in Star Wars in the first place. I don't like wasting my brain on this, because it's still bad Star Wars. It's still really bad Star Wars. I worked on the sequel trilogy for its entire run from The Force Awakens. An unknown Reddit user says, it's unverified. Take this with a grain of salt. Take this as rumor. Probably not true. But then again, the last time we got Reddit leaks, they turned out to be pretty accurate, right? We got people leaking out pictures from the movie just to prove what were in the Reddit leaks, saying, see, and this was from the premiere. This was somebody who worked on the film who leaked out something from Reddit last time. I don't know if this is the same person. But we got it, and it really felt last time like it was from the JJ camp, just to make JJ Abrams look like he didn't screw up. Especially when everybody was blaming Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger and everybody else. I worked on the sequel trilogy for its entire run, from The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. The world has changed, as has my position in the roots of this tree. In the next coming days, weeks, months, there will be several leaks due to shakeups at Lucasfilm. Leaks have become a part of the culture of the company. I want to set some matters straight before that occurred. Who am I? Doesn't matter. There's nothing I could provide to convince anyone who I was without doxing myself, something that I'm not particularly open up to doing. Take this as gospel or with a grain of salt. Regarding Lucasfilm, there has never been a cultural civil war at Lucasfilm. See, this is what we keep hearing, though, is that that you've got the Kathleen Kennedy side with all of her little SJW Lucasfilm Story Group people, and then you have the Dave Filoni's and the Jon Favreau types who are still on the same team as Kathleen Kennedy and the social justice Lucasfilm sort of story group people, but they're not on the, let's cancel everybody. They're a little less cancel happy, I guess. So maybe that part's true. Nevertheless, a disagreement on what direction to take the franchise has always been a reoccurring problem. Certain members of the Lucasfilm Film Story Group, Pablo, desired to see Star Wars resemble a D&D campaign, more aesthetic, less narrative. Others, Favreau and Filoni, are pushed for a more traditional approach. Well, you can kind of see that in how The Mandalorian is. That's really a traditional, very, I don't want to say old-fashioned, but it's a very retro feel. It has a very, very retro feel to it. There isn't some war between Kathy and Favreau. They are on rather pleasant terms. Kathy seems to want him to take over once she retires / is promoted. That's the thing. She might be promoted. She might be promoted up to something else. That is I think that's a possibility not a lot of people have been talking about. I wasn't the biggest fan of Mandalorian. It was okay. I liked Baby Yoda. That did it for me. That was enough for me to say, I'll buy some Baby Yoda stuff. I'm not going to insist this thing be destroyed and never to be seen again like the freaking sequel trilogy. Favreau may or may not take the position. Filoni isn't interested, nor is he even remotely qualified to run a film studio. He's much happier working on his own stories. That's kind of what I heard too, that he's not even qualified. Each sequel trilogy director prioritized their scripts differently. Johnson was intoxicated with the themes. Trevorrow had been infatuated with the spectacle, and Abrams favored the concepts. Abrams is always an idea guy, all idea, no follow-through. As to be expected, this led to very different approaches to the sequels. Some Lucasfilm fancied, others not as much. Rey being the biggest disagreement. They should have just nixed the character. Just get rid of her. Abrams initially had hoped to work with George. That didn't work out. When George walked, JJ had almost attempted the same. Iger stopped him. Lucasfilm saw the sequels as the departure from the old way into the new era. Initially, they had fuddled around. Is that a word? With Rey being the granddaughter of Obi-Wan before settling on no one. Wow, I can read. I'll read it on this screen. It's bigger. Abrams wanted Rey to be the granddaughter of Anakin, eventually pushing for her to be Luke's daughter he had with a fellow rebel after the war. The backstory to how Rey was left on Jakku changed several times. Luke left her with Lor San Tekka, who'd once been a Force user as well in one draft. Another draft, Kylo left her there as an act of compassion. This concept made it into the final draft of DOTF and the first draft of Rise of Skywalker. Abrams had seen Kylo as a tragic villain and wanted to tell a dark, what-if story to the redemption of Vader. Ben Solo would have always been redeemed, but only through death. Finn had likewise been a subject of controversy. Abrams wanted John Boyega to play Finn. Alan Horn, as well as additional Disney producers, saw further risk. Horn pushing for an Ansel Elgort type. Yeah, well, for Finn, they wanted Tom Holland. That was the thing. I did a video on that not too long ago. I guess, what was his name? Tom Holland had auditioned for Finn, and I think he blew it because somebody was like saying, oh, it was the casting person that he was with was like reading the droids wrong, and he didn't even know what droids were. He called them androids or robots or something. Finn being a Jedi was also something Disney producers thought was too much if John Boyega was cast. That sounds like Disney. You know how Disney doesn't like people who aren't a certain shade, let's just say. At least they like to bend to China. Disney likes swapping people to certain shades, but Disney likes removing them for China. Because China. They like Chinese money more than they like American money. Horn was the most vocal against a romance between Finn and Rey, risk factor being a big part. Yeah, they didn't want her to have a interracial kiss in the thing. Abrams would eventually ask to set up a romance between Poe and Finn when Disney requested him not to go forward with Finn and Rey, which had been refused as well. So this just sounds like JJ's camp saying, see, I was trying to be more virtuous, but Disney isn't. Lucasfilm asked Abrams to set up a romance. I already read that. To sum it up, Abrams was not on the same page with the powers that be. Is that what that is? TPTB? Ryan was far more helpful with Lucasfilm, working with them instead of against them. See, like I said, he was probably a perfect little kiss butt. He's probably like, yes, Kathy, anything you say, Kathy. What if Indy gets the dog? Sure thing, Kathy. Indiana Jones isn't in this movie, but sure, he can have the dog. Oh God, what's she gonna do with this? Now on Indiana Jones, she's gonna have Phoebe Waller-Bridge come in and tell Indiana Jones how to, I don't know, apologize for being a white male or something. Frankly, this turned out to be a mistake for Ryan due to Lucasfilm being indecisive. Obviously, stories were always being changed. Abrams had pushed for a more traditional ending to the trilogy, Luke Skywalker living past the end of the sequels, instructing a new generation and his offspring. That's what they should have done. Lucasfilm wanted Star Wars to move past the Skywalkers, pushing for them to be retired. Ryan was less concerned with the beginning of the ending, rather what he could do with his chapter. Lucasfilm gave him creative control just as long as he took their notes. Which is why we got the stupid Your Mama jokes and crap too. Ryan's film had gone under reshoots as well. Some changes, examples, Crape being moved to the ending, Holdo going from a senator to a rebel, less romantic undertones between Rey and Kylo. Well, I mean, she would have probably made more sense as a senator in a ball gown like that. Colin, unfortunately, was left to pick up the remains of the compromised Abrams chapter and Ryan's self-contained chapter. After many rewrites of the DOTF script, yeah, that was the Duel of the Fates was Colin Trevorrow's, and Colin and Lucasfilm parted ways. Jack Thorne wrote an additional draft to 9. It was deemed unusable as well. There was only one ending where Kylo lived. It was pitched after Colin's departure and before Abrams returned. That script went nowhere. We kind of knew these were gigantic messes and clusterfucks. Enter the return of Abrams, as well as the same conflicts from 2014 to 2015. See, there's the thing with like these films being. They're manufactured. This is the McDonaldization of the film industry, where they're these assembly line, we got to get it done at this deadline or else sort of thing, and it doesn't matter. And then they move on to the next thing, right? They don't care. They want to just be done with it, and that's not how you treat a movie when you're a diehard fan of these things. That's not how you treat a movie if you're somebody like me who's coming back, right? You don't do that for somebody like me even who's coming back years and years and years later, who's coming back as somebody who just wants to see what happened to the people they grew up watching on screen, right? You don't treat your diehard customers like that. You've got all of us coming back for something that you're not giving us, right? It's like McDonald's running we're bringing back the Big Mac for 88 cents. Only you get in there and it's just a picture of one. You know, it just kind of looks like a Big Mac, but it has nothing that makes the Big Mac a Big Mac. There's no meat, there's no bun, there's no salt. It's just a cardboard cutout, and that's what we got. That's what we got. Enter the turn of Abrams, as well as the same conflicts. Abrams had pitched a 2-part film. This was one of the things we heard. It was going to be a 2-parter. I remember doing a video on this about right when they were still casting. Part 1 to cover the aftermath of The Last Jedi and establish his narrative. Part 2 was the closure. Disney said no clearly. The Rise of Skywalker was a mess of different rewrites. I think Disney should have just done 2 films. They should have just said, you know what? We're going to do one more then to wrap it up because they fucked it up so bad. The plot details of The Rise of Skywalker provided to Jedi Paxis. That was always the Reddit user that we were getting all the leaks from. And that was Jedi Praxis too. Was not the original story of the film, rather just one of the many rewrites the script had undergone. The earliest completed script for 9 under Abrams and Terrio had ended up a hybrid of Rise of Skywalker and Duel of the Fates. One of the working titles for this script had been Heirs to the Force. I remember hearing something about that too, and we didn't like that. We didn't like that one either. Rose had a key role in saving the day by altering a communication jammer in the First Order used to keep the galaxy dark. This message spread across the galaxy that would have been Leia's call for help from The Last Jedi. Rey learned she was Vader's granddaughter and reconciled with her past with Luke. Finn had staged a stormtrooper rebellion after finding a long-lost sibling. See, that would have been a good thing. So that girl was supposed to be like his sibling. I think that would have been nice. Poe was made the leader of the Resistance, while Hux would have been made Grand Marshal of the First Order as Kylo's right-hand man. Kylo would have sought to reform the galaxy, but found peace in the end and passed on. The story was scrapped before and during principal photography. Some stayed in, some was changed during the film. Disney and Lucasfilm disagreed with Abrams' finale, felt it needed a villain bigger, and a bigger audience presence than Kylo or Hux, expressing regret that Snoke had been killed off, but not wanting to bring him back, which is one of the other things we said. Why do you have Snoke in here when he's just gonna get killed off in the Rian Johnson one? Oh, well, they forgot about that. We knew, and we have proof too. Like they always said, oh no, we have this plan. Well, they lied. We've proven that one time and time again. They didn't know that they were going to bring back Palpatine. By the time they actually brought back Palpatine, he said, he's like, the actor who plays him, he's like, yeah, I didn't know until like a week before shooting that it was going to come back. He didn't know, and this was during the reshoots, and we even have a timeline of that. Adam's faith that Adam Driver and Domhnall Gleeson would be more than enough, and that both men would turn in a grand performance. Disney didn't want to hear it. They pushed Palpatine onto Kathy, who was forced to push him onto Abrams. Ooh, so yeah, this is what I heard too, that this is the Iger cut. That this one came from Bob Iger. That we had the Lucas cut, we had the Kathy cut, which was dumb, and then we had it was the JJ cut. That was what it was. We had the JJ cut. We had the George Lucas cut that nobody used, and then we had the Disney cut, the Bob Iger cut. That's what this one feels like, and that's what I said when the film came out. I'm like, this sounds like we're getting the Iger cut. We're getting the Iger, and that's what this kind of leads into as well, because we always had these rumors that there were 3 different cuts of this thing. Abrams played ball with Palpatine, yet every week on production, there were new notes from Disney or Lucasfilm. Eventually, Abrams shot 2 movies, His Vision and Disney Lucasfilms. I'll give you a guess which one got the theatrical release. It wasn't the one with Matt Smith. Well, Matt Smith was supposed to be in the Lucas cut, not the JJ cut. The cast were disappointed in the end, and Boyega and Driver feeling the most robbed due to the story changes. They have been excited to film scenes together. For the first, I can't say it. They have been excited to film scenes together for the first sign since The Force Awakens. Is this typed weird? This is spelled weird. No wonder I'm stumbling on it. I feel for Kelly Marie Tran and Naomi Aki. It's hard enough for a woman of color in the industry getting their scenes cut. Wasn't something Abrams or Kathy wanted. Oh, so this is saying, see, we're not it's Disney and Bob Iger. This kind of just proves that this is more Civil War shit behind the scenes, though. This kind of seems to me like whoever wrote this is in the JJ and now Kathy team. It's like, no, don't throw Kathy under the bus. Don't throw Kathy under the bus. And that's what I keep hearing too, like even from people who worked on these things, who I know worked on them because I saw them on screen. And they said to me in person, they said, yeah, actually Kathy's the one who did this thing and this thing. And so people still really, really simp for Kathleen Kennedy. And I get it. She's probably the most powerful woman in all of Hollywood. Some closing comments. Is there a JJ cut? Still perplexed on why everyone's calling it a JJ cut. Calling it Abrams cut seems more traditional. The answer is yes and no. I guess the most important question is, would you want it? Would you want it? I don't think it's going to help anything. It's still a shit movie with Kylo and Rey. It's still going to be bad. I mean, the differences between the theatrical and the Abrams, Matt Smith for one. Well, they're never going to release the Matt Smith version because if they do that, then it'll prove all of the rumor people right. That'll prove me right. And all of the other channels that were reporting on this. Because we were telling you guys, hey, Matt Smith is supposed to be cast in this. He's on IMDb. He's on IMCrappingDB. The runtime would be close to 4 hours. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want to do anything for 4 hours. Palpatine's role constantly changed, especially not sit with a damn Star Wars movie in the Disney trilogy. Sorry. It's not going to change or help. Palpatine's role constantly changed from dark spirit to possession to eventually resurrected zombie clone. Original role was a cameo for the fans, and it was in Duel of the Fates. Rey's parents had been Luke and a Force archaeologist who found Anakin's lightsaber, and after the events of the OT. I don't care. But before the ST. Kylo and Rey's relationship was more tragic, Rey wanting to put him out of his misery and Kylo wanting to be free. There was a scene of Kylo saying goodbye to Leia, giving closure to mother and son. Jenna had been Finn's sister. I'm told this is still on the table in future stories. They were separated when they were kidnapped. Their last names were once Galfridian, alright? Their last names were Galfridian. Much of Rose's subplot was dedicated to figuring out how to outsmart the First Order. Rose and Janna had a third act in a... Who cares? See, this is bullshit. I don't care about Rose or Janna. I don't care about Finn and Poe or Kylo or Rey. I don't care about any of these characters. Do you care about any of these characters? That's the thing. Like, nobody wants a JJ cut because it's just going to be this shit. Hux and Kylo work together to find out who the spy is. By leaking false information, Hux kills Pride. Coruscant is a key world for conflict between the First Order and the Resistance. Several flashbacks to Luke's life before the sequels. Luke had been looking for Mortis throughout. Yeah, the dagger of Mortis. Well, that was what that dagger was supposed to be, the dagger of Mortis, and then it was the Sith dagger. Luke and Kylo would have a proper duel on Mortis. And there's hints to Poe's romantic interest in Finn, yet in the end he gives his blessings to Finn and Rey. Who cares? So Poe would have been gay. This sounds garbage. This sounds awful. This sounds like hot dog shit. Rey and Kylo to have their final battle. Knights of Ren would help. Finn arrives and fight with Sobrelo. Do we care? Sith troopers are actually clones mixed with Phasma's DNA. Ew. Anakin's Force ghost would have appeared with the younger Force ghosts of Luke and Leia to say goodbye forever. We don't want that. Where's Yoda? Where's Yoda? He was always my favorite. Resistance gang would have celebrated on Tatooine and at the Lars homestead. Finn and Rey watching the sunrise hand in hand with Janna, Rose, Poe, Zori, Chewie, and the droids. Who cares? Who cares? Is the Abrams cut better? No. It's a more coherent story than the theatrical release, but it's also filled a lot with the Abrams quality writing. Yeah, the Abrams quality of writing is how they should say it. The Abrams quality writing. He doesn't have quality writing. He has mystery boxes. His mystery boxes have mystery boxes. He has hey, let's set this thing up, and he has no follow through. Will it ever get released? Who cares? Heard some talks about it, but Bob Chapek has his hands full and is rather cheap. Well, nobody wants it. Nobody's having it. I don't see a high fan campaign for this ever happening like the Snyder Cut. It's a different situation too. Personally, I favored Colin's ending chapter with Duel of the Fates more. He got Star Wars the best. Should have given him the trilogy, but that's my own personal 2 cents. There'll be more leaks coming. Holy crap. What do you guys think? So this is just more stuff just to get kind of Star Wars buzzing again, just to get us talking about it. Whether we want it or not, that's another story. I have ranted about this for 30 minutes. This is a half an hour out of my life that I'm never getting back, and it is 4:20 exactly right now where we're ending this portion of the video. I am going back to my live chat. Don't you guys go anywhere. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!
Fucking hate Star Wars!